everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Maya and this is Inspired by Maya. So in today's video, I'm going to be making a utility two-piece set. So it's going to be shirt and trousers, but the trousers won't be in this video because I haven't finished the pattern yet because I haven't decided exactly how I want to do it. But the shirt has been finished, so I'm going to be doing it in a two-part series. So this is the shirt video. I'm really excited to get into it because since doing the cargos, I've become really inspired, and I think if you watched my last video, you would see that I was procrastinating and I did have a lot of self-doubt, but since doing that and knowing that I can execute my sewing to a certain level, like, I'm really proud of how they came out. It's helping me feel a bit more confident going into other projects and just knowing like I am going to make mistakes. That's what comes with sewing, but I can't let that stop me. Do you know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, this pattern will be available on my Etsy page. It's my first unisex pattern, so it's for male and females, and the sizes will range from extra small to double XL. So yeah, if you do want to follow this tutorial, then please check out my Etsy page. The link will be in the description box down below. And if you did enjoy this video, if you learned something, please like and subscribe and maybe comment your thoughts or anything that you want to see me make next. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So as usual, I started off by piecing together my PDF pattern, and of course this came with a jam session. Honestly, music is the only thing that gets me through things I don't like. I'm still in love with you, girl. Next, I moved on to cutting my pieces out, and you want to make sure that you follow the straight grain of your fabric and don't cut on an angle. The only piece that this would be acceptable for is for the yoke, because that allows it to stretch over your back width a bit more. Now I see you and me. Now we really need to work something out. Work something out. I'm using a polycotton gabardine twill, gabardine, I don't know how you say it, but yeah, it's quite firm in its structure, and I didn't wash the fabric beforehand, which you should, but I took a risk, don't be like me. But anyways, in my head I thought maybe the fabric will soften once it's had a few washes. I'm still to find out because at this moment I haven't washed it yet. Don't forget to mark the pocket placement, button placket and the pleat on the front and back of the shirt pieces. I used chalk and pins as my guide. So overall, these are the total pattern pieces you should have. 2 front of the shirts, 1 back of the shirt cut on the fold, 2 yokes cut on the fold, 2 patch pockets, 4 pocket flaps, 2 sleeves, 2 collars and 2 collar stands. For your machine setup, you want to make sure you're using denim needles, and we'll only be using a straight stitch for this project. For the threads, I'll be using dark grey normal thread and a dark grey denim top stitching thread. On your patch pockets, mark in your seam allowance so it's visible on the right side of the fabric. I used 1 centimeter seam allowance, and I marked that on the bottom and sides, and then 2 centimeters for the hem at the top. Then iron in your folds towards the back of the fabric. After that was done, I went ahead and overlocked all around my pockets. I overlock afterwards because I want to make sure that I'm using the correct seam allowance. If I overlock beforehand, there's a chance I might use more seam allowance than I'm supposed to. Once that's done, take the pocket flaps to the sewing machine and sew all around the edges except one of the long edges, and sew with normal thread and a straight stitch. I saw a little hack the other day and I wanted to test it out. So when you're sewing corners, they say to do a 45-degree angle right at the corner instead of doing a 90-degree pivot stitch, and it really works. My pocket flap corners came out so sharp. Next, snip your corners so we can get a nice edge when we turn it out. Once you've turned them out, iron them flat. A little trick I use is to almost roll the fabric outwards at the seam so that I'm not ironing a fold into onto the flap. I'm ensuring that the seam is right in the center of where I'm ironing. I hope that makes sense. Once you've ironed them flat, we can move back to the sewing machine and switch to our top stitching thread. Then do a straight stitch about 2mm away from the outer edge, and then do another stitch about 7 to 8mm away from the last stitch. Don't do a 45-degree pivot stitch on this one, do a 90-degree pivot stitch, and you should end up with this. I also forgot to mention you want to lengthen your stitch so it isn't too close together. Then you also want to hem the top of your pockets. Now you want to iron your button plackets in place. Just like the pockets, make sure your markings are on the right side and then iron towards the back of the fabric. I iron my 1cm seam allowance in first and then fold it towards my second line, which is 2cm away from the first line. Then top stitch the placket in place using the top stitching thread again. Always check that your seam allowance width is correct because you don't want to be sewing on the top and not catching the bottom of the placket. That's literally the worst thing. So sometimes it's best to flip your fabric and check that your trajectory is right before you start sewing on the right side. Next, I overlock the side seams, shoulder seams and armholes of the shirt, except for the back shirt piece and yoke because I hadn't assembled that yet. You always want to overlock when your pieces are assembled so that you have less bulk. I also overlock the sleeve cap, but I wouldn't do this if you're planning to top stitch the sleeves later because I ended up cutting it off anyway, but instead I suggest overlocking the sides of the sleeves. Now we can start prepping the collar. Not to scare you or anything, but the collar is the hardest part of making this shirt and it really annoyed me if I'm being honest, but I'll touch on that later. My tip is just to take time and be patient. So first we need to iron interfacing onto one collar and one collar stand on the wrong side of the fabric. I'm using medium weight interfacing. Once that's done, we can match the collar pieces together, right sides facing, and sew around the edges, except for the bottom edge which will get trapped between the collar stand later. Don't forget to do that 45-degree stitch at the corners. Snip your corners, turn your collar out and press it flat with the iron. Now using the top stitching thread, do a lengthened straight stitch all around the edges. Next, pin the center of the collar and collar stand together, sandwiching the collar in the middle of the collar stand's right sides facing. Then pin outwards from the center on both sides. And also you want to fold 1 centimeter up on one side of the collar stand, so the pieces that the button will get attached to, you want to turn it up 1 centimeter on one side of the collar stand. Then sew with 1 centimeter seam allowance all around with normal thread and take it easy around them rounded corners. Next, trim your seam allowance and snip the rounded edges so it turns out with a smoother edge and iron it flat. Now let's leave the collar here for now. For the back pleat, match up the markings we made and pin in place, then sew with a straight stitch about 1.5 centimeters down on the right side of the fabric, then iron it open so the center of the loop is on the seam line we just made. Do a small stitch at the top to keep this in place. To attach the yoke, place them right sides facing the back shirt piece, trapping the back shirt in the middle just like we did the collar earlier. Pin from the center and continue outwards on both sides, then sew with normal thread and a straight stitch. Once that's done, you want to iron the seam flat. It should look clean on both sides, no seams visible. I decided to add my label on at this point. I used some hemming web to keep it in place and I only sewed it onto the inside yoke so that there was no visible stitching on the outside of the shirt. Then you want to top stitch the yoke down about 2mm away from the seam line and then another stitch 7 to 8mm away from the previous line. Now we can attach our pockets to the front of the shirt. Fold in the edges and make sure you match them with the markings we made when we were cutting our pattern. Then use top stitching thread and sew all around 2mm from the edge, doing a 90-degree pivot stitch at the corners. Then just like the flaps, do another stitch about 7 to 8mm away from the previous stitch. Then pin your flaps right sides facing the fabric on the top 2 markings and raw side pointing towards the hem of the pocket. Then sew with normal thread and a straight stitch. Trim the seam allowance down slightly, then change to top stitching thread again. Fold the flap downwards and sew 2mm away from the seam and then 7 to 8mm away from the last stitch. Now using normal thread, sew the shoulder seams together, right sides facing with a straight stitch. I then changed to my top stitching thread and sewed about 3 to 4mm away from the seam on both sides of the seam I just made, making sure my seam allowance was pressed open. Now for the sleeves, I pinned them right sides facing the armholes. My trick to sleeves is pinning the center to the shoulder seams, then pinning the edges and easing all the fabric in the center around the curve of the armhole. These sleeves don't have much ease as they have a flat curve, so it should be fairly easy to do, but I still would recommend pinning it all in place instead of going straight to the sewing machine without pinning. Then sew with normal thread and a straight stitch all around. Here's where I decided to top stitch, so I trimmed the sleeve seam allowance and folded the armhole seam allowance over it. Then I sewed 2mm away from the edge with top stitching thread, and make sure the seam allowance is in the right direction as you're doing this. Then I did another stitch 7 to 8mm away from the previous one. Now we can sew the side seams up. Match your side seams with the fabric right sides facing each other, and then using normal thread sew with a straight stitch and then iron the seam open. Once that was done, I decided to hem the bottom of the shirt and the sleeves. To make sure my sewing was accurate, I marked my seam allowance on the right side of the fabric and then ironed it in place. Then I overlocked the bottom of the shirt and sleeves and took it to the sewing machine and stitched it in place with the top stitching thread. Now for the bit I'd call a nightmare, pin the side of the collar stand with the overhang right sides facing the neck of the shirt. Pin all around. It may take a bit of easing into place because it's a curvy piece, but just take your time. Then sew with your normal thread and 1cm seam allowance. Now you want to turn your shirt so the inside is facing you and fold the seam allowance of the collar stand inwards so that it hangs over the seam line we just made, about 2mm. Then pin it in place. Off camera, I used Hemming Web, which is an ironable glue, to try and get it super accurate, but it didn't come out how I hoped it would. Once you've done that, sew with top stitching thread all along the edge. I would recommend this time having the bobbin thread as top stitching thread too. When I've done shirt collars in the past, I've always ended up hand stitching this part, and I honestly wish I would have just done that because the results didn't meet my standards and it's really tricky to do. But anyways, moving on, I marked my button placement on the right side of the shirt placket and measured each one to be about 7cm apart. Then I used chalk to make markings for where I line it up in the sewing machine. As usual, I did some tests before doing the real thing, and once I was happy with them, I went ahead and did the real thing. But as per usual, something always goes wrong, so I had to fix some of the buttonholes with a zigzag stitch, but it turned out okay in the end. Then I seam ripped my buttonholes open and used my chalk to mark the center so I can attach the buttons. I used my button foot for this and disengaged my feed dogs, which stops it from sewing forwards and backwards. Once all my buttons were attached, I was done. So now it's not time for the final reveal, it's time for part 2 on how to make the trousers. See you there.